Hi there, it's Donna from Taffy Crafting, and I wasn't going to do a video today, but now I've decided to do a video today because yesterday I made something that, let me just move this camera, I've made something that I've been wanting to make for ages, which is a spanner card. I don't know why it's called a spanner card, to be honest, but anyway, so a spanner card looks like this. So you have like a front layer, and then you have this middle layer, and then you have the inside layer. And I've used this lovely monochrome theme with just a little bit of hint of colour. This is fresh freesia. Thought I'd use this because this is leaving us very, very soon. So I used stamping blends there, and this is the hand pen paper, which is just black and white, which I absolutely love. So thanks to these are all over the internet. Okay, I watched Lisa Curcio. I've been watching a lot of her lately, Lisa Curcio's video, and the reason I watch her, she's an American demonstrator who has such an abundance of enthusiasm that you just can't help but watch her and like her, in my opinion. But a lot of the cards that I see on YouTube are kind of like a 4x6, generally a 4x6 measurement, and I'm kind of moving away from that, and I'm trying to see how much I can make using a 5x7 card, which for me is a more preferred size, but it would sit on a tabletop like that, I suppose, and it sits quite nicely. And this can, well, I don't think you would, it might kind of flap up a little bit if you wanted to look and see what that's made of, but plenty of room inside for a message. And I just love the different black and white of that with that pop of colour. So I've got another one that I'm going to show you, which is a completely different style, using the country gingham and also some paper that I've forgotten the name of, so I have to reach to the catalogue. So I'm using country gingham. There's all sorts of colours in there. We've got mint macaron, we've got balmy blue, and this poppy parade. Let me just find the other paper. So I'm going to be using this paper. It's got other designs with it as well. Oh gosh, I can't find it. I'm desperately trying to find it in the book. Here we go. So this is from the Country Floral Lane suite. So here are these hearts. There is a stamp set that goes with it, but I haven't gone for the stamp set. I did, however, get the ribbon. I've not used that yet. It's beautiful ribbon. I think I've used the burlap, but I've not used the real red yet. There's the Country Gingham Designer Series paper, and that is 6x6, and you get masses of that. You get 48 sheets of that, so that goes a long, long way. And then I'm also going to be using this Country Floral Lane. And what I like about this is all of the different colours in it, to as dark as Mossy Meadow. And there's me thinking it was Poppy Parade. It's actually Sweet Sorbet. So I got that wrong. And I'm not going to get my Sweet Sorbet card out now. It works perfectly well with Poppy Parade. I don't actually think you're going to see the difference. And if you are, it doesn't matter. But what I like about this particular paper is that it coordinates with this punch. And so what I've been doing is just, let me show you how easy this is. There's the punch, there's the paper. And we just line it up. And I've got shaky hands, so I won't get the best lineup of this. So I'm trying to make sure I've got it on the screen. There we go. Hold on to it and then punch it out. Let's just put that to one side. So I've already punched these out ahead of time just because I end up not being able to see what I'm doing. So you get a heart, 2 leaves in mint macaron, and then a separate heart. So later on you're going to see me struggling trying to stick all of this together because I've lost my tweezers, which is what I use for small bits of cut out. So I've got 2 lots of those. So let's get started. I'm already 4.5 minutes into this video and haven't actually done anything yet. So let me show you what I'm going to do. So the middle of my card, I'm going to be using this just because I think it's really pretty, and I'm going to use Petal Pink card for that. The card that I've got is 10 inches by 7 inches. Let me raise the camera. 10 inches by 7 inches. And I need to score that on the long side at 5 inches. Let's try and get that exact. There we go. And we're just going to fold and burnish that. We've got to do some other cut lines in there as well. Can't find my bone folder. I was doing a lot of crafting today and I haven't put anything away yet. There it is. There's my bone folder. Just put my paper trimmer to one side. We'll need it again in a moment. And I'm just going to just burnish that. So open it back out again. Then what we're going to do will be putting this back into the paper trimmer, and we're going to do 2 cut lines from the score line down to the bottom at 1 3/4 inches either side. Now I realised that with my last YouTube video I didn't put any measurements or things in there. It was just a replay of a Facebook Live that I did, and I will try and get some measurements onto that. I've just had a week off work. I go back to work tomorrow, which I'm really sad about. So I know I've got some jobs to do before I go back. So let's get this on here, and I'm going to line this up here at 1 3/4 inches. Just trying to get this in shot. So 1 3/4 inches. What we need to do is get the blade onto that score line. Now this is a little bit tricky to do. And if I go back to that first card that I made, I did just go slightly over on those, but it doesn't ruin the card whatsoever. And you'd have to really look carefully to see that I'd done that. So the clear track definitely helps. This clear barrier here definitely helps. So you can see here, you've got the line on the blade, and I'm trying not to put my head over the top. So just line it up and then make sure we're still at 1 3/4. It's slightly out. That's it. Put that right. And then like that. So here you might be able to see that cut line hasn't gone right to the top. So I'm just going to do it a teeny tiny bit more. It's still not quite there. There we are. That will do it. Yep, and that's fine. I've got that perfect. Turn it round, because it's easier to put this at 1 3/4 rather than 5 1/4. Same again. Line it up. Just check everything's lined up and drag that down. And again, it didn't quite go to the top. Teeny tiny bit. There's plenty of control in this. There we are. I made a better job of that than I did the other one. So if we turn it all around, we get back to that. So that just needs another burnish on there. Now what we're going to be doing is working on these, and then we're going to put a bridge across, just like I'd done for this one. And then we'll work on this piece, and then we have this to work with as well. Now, what I found, it was easier to work from the inside outwards. So that is what I'm going to do here, but you don't have to, it's entirely up to you. Now I'm using 2 different colours or 2 different designs of gingham. And I had to decide, did I want this one on the front or did I want this one on the front? And I wanted the bigger gingham on the front just because I thought it went better with that than that. I don't think it really matters. It was just literally a preference thing. So I'm going to put those on there like that. Now, I'm now kind of looking at this poppy parade and I'm thinking, now I'm going to get my sweet sorbet out in a moment. So what I'm going to do, I'm not layering this up with card because it just started to get a bit thick and I was just starting to get worried about getting in a muddle with measurements. But you could do, if you wanted to put a layer of card behind these. These two pieces of DSP measure 1 3/4, I believe. I'm just going to check that because I mucked about with these measurements yesterday. Yeah, 1 3/4. No, it's not. It's 1.5. Sorry, 1.5 inches by 4 7/8. And each of those are going to sit in the corner there like that. And so when this comes down, you still get that border either side. Now I have to hope that my glue works, because what normally happens, Facebook Live or YouTube video, oops, just drop the glue pot. So this is very similar to a design that Lisa Curcio did. She was using some paper from 2 years ago, I want to say. I might be wrong. And when she made her card, she'd had inspiration from somebody else as well. Like I say, these are all over the place. I don't know who came up with the original idea. And then the next thing I want to do is just put some white card here that just measures the same as this flap here, because I don't want it to be seen either side of it, just so that we have something to write a sentiment on. So I've got my card here. This measures 3 3/8, just so that it is completely covered up by that flap. That flap measures 3.5 inches, and then by 4 7/8. So it's got that equal border to these other two strips as well. But before I stick that down, I am going to stamp it. And I'm going to be using the Happiness Abounds stamp set. There's a Happiness Abounds stamp set. And I really like this sentiment, wishing you all the happiness you can imagine. And seeing as we're using Sweet Sorbet, I will stamp in Sweet Sorbet. Now, Sweet Sorbet is, it's red, isn't it? It's red. And here's Poppy Parade. There's not a massive amount of difference between it. But I think there's a bit more of it's a bit lighter. There's a bit more pink in there. You might decide that you don't want to stamp in a red colour. I don't think it matters, but I know I was always taught at school, don't write in red pen. It's only the teacher that wrote in red pen. And now that I am a teacher, I don't like to write in red pen. There we are. So we'll stick that down. That is quite possibly the first time I've used that ink. That ink's been live for for almost a year, and I've not used it. I think because I like the previous year's ink colours so much, and I'm trying to use those. I really am going to mourn the loss of Evening Evergreen and Polished Pink and Soft Succulent. So let's just... Oh, what's come off on there? It's a little bit of glue. I'll deal with that. A little bit of glue had got in the way there, and quite possibly later I might stamp a leaf or something in there just to cover that up, or some of the leaves that I stamped out earlier, might put a leaf up there maybe. That's the sort of thing you can do when something like that happens. So let's move on to the next layer. And with the next layer, I have decided to layer this up with a piece of the Country Gingham, which will sit on there, and then our Country Floral Lane DSP that will sit on top of it like that. So I'll just layer those two up first. So if you are in the UK, Belgium, Ireland, Republic of Ireland. Did I say the UK? Germany, France, Austria or Holland. You can order from me, and we only have a couple of days left of Celebration. By the 28th, end of 28th of February, Celebration will be no more for this year. And you can earn free stuff for every £45 or €60 that you spend, and you get a level 1 reward. And what you can spend those rewards on are really generous. So if you like free stuff and you were thinking of putting in an order, go to my shop and you'll see a link to that in the description bar. Make sure your order is over €60 or £45 to earn yourself some free product. Whether that be DSP or a stamp set. And if you need any help with ordering, let me know. Just drop me a line, taffycrafting@gmail.com, and I'll help you with that. Right, so we've got the middle. Oh, sorry, yes, we've got the inside. Then we've got that middle panel. And then we've got this. And then we'll have our outside decoration. So I wanted to get the other gingham. Let's just put that to one side. And I'm going to layer that up on some white. There's plenty of white in here to match up with that. There's white in here to match it up. Wasn't sure about white earlier. Thought I needed another colour, but I didn't want to put too much more colour in against that petal pink. And then these are going to layer up on those two outside flaps. Like that. I think the sweet sorbet just goes beautifully with that petal pink. I think it's absolutely lovely. Such a pretty set of colours. And I'm looking out of the window now while I'm crafting, and it is, you know, the end of February, and it's a lovely sunny day, blue sky, white fluffy clouds. Which is so unusual for February, especially in the UK. And especially in the part of the UK where I live. Wales is known for being a bit on the wet side. But that's why it's so beautifully green here. So there we are. There's our outside flaps, there's our middle panel, and there's the inside. Now we're not done there yet, because we're going to put the bridge on the front. So this is this bit. Now on this card, it's just a piece of black card behind those two side flaps. But for this particular one, I'm going to be using some acetate, or what Stampin' Up call window sheets. So this will give an illusion of it being, of what I'm going to stick on it, floating. So what we need to do is I want to stick that on there. Now, I would normally have measured this to be 7 inches by 1.5 inches, but this is actually 6 3/4. Might even be a little bit less than that. It's because my bit of acetate that I had left, because I didn't want to use a brand new sheet, was less than 7 inches, but it doesn't matter. So what I'm going to do is put some tear and tape on the side here. You can use liquid glue, but I prefer tear and tape for this. So I'm going to take these off, and this is going to take a little bit of care just to line this up. So this is going on the back of these. That's why I prefer to put the layer on them first. Line them up to the bottom edge of those two flaps. Just want to get it a bit more central. Now, tear and tape is extremely sticky. And sorry for me taking my time here. I just want to make sure that's as straight as possible. Now, if I was doing this at home on my own and not filming it, I would have had my head right over this bit, trying to make sure that it was on. Yeah, that's okay. So I thought that was sticking. It's not. So when that's down, you can barely see that. And probably on the camera now, the only reason you know that that has got acetate there is you could probably see a bit of a reflection on there. But we're going to stick some things on there. Now, first thing I want to do is put a sentiment on the front. Now, I've done this in Poppy Parade, and I think I'm going to have to get my Sweet Sorbet card out. I don't know. I can see that it's not the right colour, and I think I need to change it. So I'm going to go and find my Sweet Sorbet card. I've just got a scrap of it. I really don't need very much of it at all. So I've just got a scrap. You can see that is different from Poppy Parade. Let's move that over. I can't remember my measurements for this. I'm going to have to might have to play it by ear a little bit. So this is just literally a smidge, a tad, a fraction under 1 inch. You'll see why I'm saying that in a minute. And I'm going to do that 3 1/4 inches long. I think I could probably keep, if I knew what I did with it, I have literally put that there. I can probably keep this. That's in basic white. That measured 3 inches by 3/4 of an inch. And the punch rather that I used I can't find it. It was on my desk just now. It was under my piece of paper with my measurements. So this is the lovely label punch, and I'm going to be using this one. So this was 3/4 of an inch wide, and that just slotted in there like that. And this one, now the reason I did it just a tad, a fraction under 1 inch, is that when you do it 1 inch, it doesn't seem to want to fit. So you're just going to slot that in there like that. Now before I punch it, I actually turn it round to make sure it's even, and it's not. And I just use my little take your pick tool just to push that over. So just one last look just to make sure that that is even. Happy with that, punch it. And then we'll flip it round and do the same again. Turn it around to check it. See, it's just completely lopsided. It's just the way that I've put it in. So just wiggle it a bit. Happy with where that is, and punch it. So what I'm going to do is layer this up on here like that, and I need to put a sentiment on there. So I was looking at the Go-To Greetings stamp set. And I've got this little happy birthday sentiment, which will fit quite nicely in there. Let's just get my block. And I will do this again in Sweet Sorbet. I think that needs a bit of a clean. I love this. This is my Stamp and Scrub. And what I like about the Stamp and Scrub is this stuff. It smells beautiful. I absolutely love the smell of it. Quick spritz. Bit of a clean. It just looks dirty when I picked it up. So that's how that works. Love that. I sell a lot of those. People love them. Sweet Sorbet back out again. Now, the thing about not sticking it down first is that you kind of get 2 shots at this. but I don't need 2 shots. Sometimes I do. And I'm going to get some mini stamping dimensionals, not that one. I'm just using the edges of those. And I'm just going to put one either side and one in the middle. Of this label. Oh, I picked up 2 there. Take the backing off. And then get that as central as I can. Now I want to find something. Oh, there we go. I'll put one of those on there. These are the glossy dots. Love these. But you could use anything that's got a little bit of bling on it, some rhinestones, pearls, anything like that. And I'm going to stick that on there like that, and that will lift because it's on that acetate. Something is sticking to that there, it's the card. Because it's on the acetate, it will look like it's floating. So let's get some more dimensionals on there. You know these are my favourite thing in the whole world. And they actually last ages. I know I can be a bit frugal with them, but they do actually last a long time. What I'm not very good at is getting the backing off. Right, let's just put that on there. Get it nice and central, which that isn't. That's better. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do, I want to put a heart on here. Now I've got to be careful with this because I don't want it to stick to this middle bit. I only want it to stick to the side. So what I'm going to do is stick the leaves and the heart on and then stick the whole thing to the card. So this is the back of everything. And what we want is, just got a little bit of glue here. You can use glue dots, they might be better. So I want that to stick to the back there. Oops, come on, like that. It's the only thing I don't like about liquid glue. I've got to wait for it to grab. Glue dots probably would have been better. And then we'll put a little bit of glue on that one. Now this card I really am thinking of perhaps it'd be a nice Mother's Day card. This one's going to be a birthday card, but we've got Mother's Day coming up here. I don't know if that's the same in other countries as well. On this heart I'm going to use a dimensional to give it a bit of dimension. And put that on there like that. Do one on either side if you want. What we're going to do is stick it here so that when we lift it up, it lifts up with that panel and not being stuck to the centre panel. I'm going to put one there and then one on that heart, on that leaf as well. Hopefully that is stuck down. Obviously, if I wasn't doing a video, I would actually be leaving that and making sure that that dries off completely. I'll stick that on there like that. That'll move there like that. And I want to do another one and I'll quickly do that off camera. Okay, and the last thing, just need to make sure we just put dimensionals onto the back on this side here. I think the world is your oyster with regards to what you want to do with this card to decorate it. You can do absolutely anything with this. Here I've got two very, very different designs. I just want to look for some. These are the Milky Dots that have just arrived in the new mini catalogue, and I'm just going to pick a couple of these out, just to dot them around, really. Because you buy these and you think, oh, there's only one sheet of them, but they do actually go a long way. I kind of feel like you're using them for ages. And the thing is, we want to feel like we've got value for money, don't we? Picked up two by mistake there. So there we go. I'm really pleased how that came out, and if you stuck with me right to the end of this video, all 31 minutes of it, then I'm extremely grateful. Thank you very much. I hope it's something that you would give a go. It is obviously like that, you can see what's going on, but I don't think it matters. I don't think people are looking at that. They can just see that those hearts are kind of floating, that sentiment is floating. Open that up, and then you've got another surprise there, and the sentiment in there. Yes, I know there's a little bit of glue on there. I'm going to go off and I'm going to clean this because that's where that mark came from. Shockingly dirty. The only thing I would say is that if you made this using thick basic white, I think it's going to be a bit more stable. But sometimes we want to use different colours, don't we? But that stands up perfectly well. Really chuffed with that. Let me know if you give it a go. I really would love to see if you've given it a go. And you can join me on Facebook, Taffy Crafting. Come and join me on there. People have been sharing their projects. And I also intend to get my craft page back up again, the Taffy Crafters Facebook group where we can share what we've made. So look out for that. And I'll get that going again. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget, celebration ends on the 28th of February. Get your orders in if you want to earn free stuff. And the joining offer, £170 worth of goods, and you pay 99. Send me an email at taffycrafting@gmail.com and I'll tell you all about it. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.